Hi, I'm Elena Nolan, the collections manager here at the Battleship New Jersey, and we're talking to you today from our collection space, the primary place where we store all of our artifacts that are not on exhibit. We've come into the museum today because, as you know, we are closed, and it looks like we may be closed for a significant amount of time. So there are some steps that we needed to take to ensure that the collection would be safe, since we won't be here every single day to check on it. So we do keep our collection on the ship, so that comes with its own set of challenges. The most important thing when you store objects on your ship is to protect it from water intrusion, which is just what you do every day, all day, keep the water out of the ship. So we went through this space, which is on third deck, so we are at the water line or right below, and moved everything up off the deck. There's some things that were heavy, we've wrapped them in plastic, so they should be safe, but everything is at least a couple inches up off the deck if we couldn't get them up onto shelves like these, or we use actually racks down in a berthing compartment for a lot of storage, so everything is safe there. This area is our processing area, so we have big tables in here, so a lot of things did get brought in here that were too big to fit on a rack or anything. So some objects that are just very big or very heavy that we could not take out into the primary collection space. One of them being this. This is our Vietnam era deck mat. So this would have gone right at the brow where officers come onto the ship. It's where we come across where guests come across the gangway to enter the ship today. This came to us actually last year from Navy History and Heritage Command. Another thing that we have from Navy History and Heritage Command are one of our Vietnam era tompions. So these go on the end of the 16-inch gun barrels. They are made out of wood. They are quite heavy. This is turret 2 for the left gun, it says on the back. This is a trigger for the 16-inch guns. It has been taken off and mounted on a piece of, I do believe, teak. And yeah, it was from either World War II, Korea, or Vietnam. It says 1943 to 1969 on it. So it was taken off. Trigger still moves, which is fun. And if you would like to actually pull a trigger on one of these, you could come back out when we open and take our turret 2 tour on the weekends. So we do have an interactive hands-on activity in forward plot where you do get to pull a firing key. Okay, so we've moved to another area of our collection space, and I thought I would show you some more interesting objects that we have. For clarification, we are doing a complete baseline reassessment of our collection, so everything is in temporary storage, basically. So that is why this is not the final form for this section at all. But for organizational purposes, this is where I'm at. Go. So this is a wooden carved bull that came from our wardroom. Okay, it says wardroom mess on this little tiny brass plaque, USS New Jersey. I'm unsure whether it is a bread bowl, which I think is what it is, or a fruit bowl. We have many bread bowls, so the computer says, but this one doesn't say. But it's really cool, quite heavy, could be used as a weapon.
Do we know what time period that's from?
World War II.
World War II?
Yes, it already did have an accession number. I cannot remember who donated it off the top of my head. Apologies if you're the donor.
How long have we had it in the collection?
Since 2003.
Okay, so
early.
one of the early objects we have.
Yeah, which is why it's yeah, it's in pretty good shape. Obviously, has some nicks, but even the plaque isn't really knocked up or anything. So this is I don't know if you can see it. It's a lighter that was sitting in there. It actually needs to move somewhere else. So this is a 1980s lighter. And if you follow us on social media, you will see that we sell reproduction of this in our store, and we were highlighting it yesterday. So our store is our only bit of income right now, so head there, buy some things, like this lighter. Another really interesting, really cool thing that we have that I have no information on, it has no accession number, I do not know where it came from, is this Japanese flag. Come here. War II flag, given the advertisements and things that were also in the bag that I found it with, assuming they came from the same place. So yeah, it's seen a bunch of wear and tear, but considering I have no idea how long it sat in someone's closet and then in a bag here, it could be a whole lot worse. Obviously, it will get a little bit of treatment and it will go laid flat.
So if any of you guys find World War II era textiles like this at home, don't fold them up like we have them now. This is very much, we're still organizing this stuff. In the final form, this will be rolled up, draped over something. It will not be folded and creased.
Or laid completely flat on foam, probably then with foam on top of it to keep it flat. But yes, maybe if you guys have interest in that, we could actually do a whole series on like basic preservation storage methods, so let us know. One of 3 embossers that we have that did come off the ship. They are like wrought iron, super heavy, and in this, it's a press, and it's the ship seal.
It could very easily date back to World War II, or it could be something that was added in the 1980s. We're not sure. It seems to have been left on board when the ship was decommissioned and found on board.
Yeah, they are just,
So something like this would have been in the ship's office, the captain's office, maybe the XO's office, so they could emboss documents that were being handed out. And we do have a number of documents in our collection, certificates and other things like that, which have been embossed with one of the ship's embossers.
Yep. So we have 3 of them that are all identical. One does need to be repaired, but yeah, pretty cool. Yep. For a lighter thing, this is a Bob Hope doll. See, you just never know what's going to show up in collections. So Bob Hope did visit us a couple times, and this particular doll hangs out in the captain's cabin, usually in December, for Christmas type stuff. So come visit us at Christmas time, and you can see him up close and personal. Okay, we move to another section. We were kind of standing over in the World War II section before. This is Korea. Kind of continuing on from what I said about the flag, that obviously it should be laid flat and whatnot. Here's an example of doing that. So this is a huge box. You all can see it, huge box. It has a grand total of 1 piece of paper in it because I needed it to lay flat because it's fairly delicate. Whoa. Also ties into Bob Hope. So this is a USO map of Istanbul. So the USO did a lot of things. They didn't just do the on-ship entertainment like you think of when you think of Bob Hope. They also organize trips ashore. They provide things like this. They'll provide phrase books and basically a highlight. If you think of like the packets that you would get from a real travel agent, they do that. But this is a really delicate one. It's from Korea era. The ship did a bunch of cruises to Europe after the Korean conflict was over. We actually have a whole lot more. We have more documentation and objects for those cruises than we do for the actual combat period of Korea.
Interesting fun fact, Turkey was one of the last countries to operate a battleship. They still had an Imperial German battle cruiser, the Goeben, in commission up into the 1950s or 60s as the Sultan Yavuz. So there are some really interesting pictures of the battleship Missoura, our sister ship, in port when she delivered the remains of the Turkish ambassador to DC after his passing, anchored next to this Turkish, formerly Imperial German World War I era battle cruiser.
It's a really cool picture.
So this section seems a little bit bare, don't you?
It is. I don't know if you guys can see. This box actually came from up here, so this section is empty. And then this. And this is all we have for our Korean section of our collection. So
that was the second longest commissioning period of the entire ship. and possibly the period in which we had the most sailors come on board because of all of the midshipman cruises and whatnot.
Yeah, well, they were too busy having fun in Europe to take pictures, apparently. I do have quite a collection back over here on the corner that I have no information about that is mostly about traveling to Europe. There's a bunch of little tiny maps with phrase book, like in phrase books and things like that, which is pretty cool. But because this year is the anniversary of us being recommissioned for Korea, I am hoping, cross your fingers folks, that we're open again. We want to have some kind of little shindig ceremony, something to commemorate the date. For all of you Korean veterans out there, if you would like to donate objects, I am going to try and put together an exhibit to highlight that commissioning. Please do not send things right now because we are not at the ship to receive them. Well, we are today, but it's not going to be the norm. But I will keep you guys updated because I would really, really like to inject some more life into this part of the collection. Unlike our Korean collection, this is our uniform collection. About half of it. We have so many. Most everything in here on this side is World War II. Not all of it. These are all the traditional woolen jumpers and trousers. I do keep the trousers and the jumpers together when they are donated. Everything over here is that. We do have some whites over here, not very many. And then we have a whole bunch of dungarees and more whites. And then uniforms that are Marine Corps uniforms or wave uniforms. On the next section over, which is equally full. So we have everything from complete uniforms, we have all the bits and pieces, we have Dixie cups, we have, ooh, that's not from our ship, this is from Saratoga, but the regular ship ball cap.
So at this point, you're probably asking what the difference is between Elena and myself. I am the Director of Curatorial and Educational Affairs. Elena is the Collections Manager as far as our job descriptions list us. But what does that actually mean? At a traditional museum, both of us would be working in the collections, usually with one of us subordinate to the other. In the unique instance of a museum ship, we have both the objects in our collection, some of the things you've seen here today, and the ship itself, which is an accessioned object in our collection. So the rough division of duties here is Elena is the curator of the collections. She is in charge of all of the objects down here and is getting the collections in order. And I am the ship's curator, so I am the content expert on the ship, what it did, and work with the maintenance department on restoring and repairing the vessel. Clear as mud?
Us too. So.
Why is it so dark down here? How do you work down here like this?
Well, the problem with having a window is there should not be portholes down here. We are right at or just below the waterline. No, we don't want any access to the outside world from here. But just in general, we do keep the lights low down here. We do have to transition some of these bulbs over to LEDs that aren't done yet. But light is the worst thing for objects, documents, photographs, anything. So if I'm not down here, the lights are off completely. I only have maybe half of the lights on in here at any given time. I can walk around here in the dark. I'm not gonna kill myself. So it's better for all of the objects down here. The other reason that we use this space too, which I hadn't mentioned, is because the temperature stays lower down here below the water and tends not to fluctuate quite so much. So especially right now where we've turned off all but essential systems on the ship, we're trying to keep costs down while we're not taking in any income. So this level stays pretty much the same. It's not going to fluctuate a whole lot until the high summer. And anything that is really particularly delicate, like our World War II photographs, and I have a selection of things from BB-16, so pre-World War I, World War I, photographs and documents. They've actually been taken down a deck below us, which is very cold, and will stay very cool even through the summer.
So thanks for watching with us today. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to donate and help support the ship through this hard time, check the link down below. Otherwise, tune in every day for more social media content here on YouTube and our other platforms.